I bet you guys can't guess what one of the taglines is.
Come.
Yeah, you nailed it. I bet you'll all be shocked to know it can't rain all the time.
I've never heard that before.
Also, nothing is trivial.
It's not a good tagline unless you've seen the movie. That's stupid.
Believe in angels.
Come on, John Crow.
Real love is forever, darker than the bat.
What?
I think that's a knock at Batman from fucking 5 years earlier.
You know what?
Fuck.
They say that, but like this city set is like giving major Batman ripoff vibes, so I don't want to hear it.
I don't know. This city looks like more than 4 people live there, as opposed to Tim Burton's Batman movie, which seems like the only people that live there are like the 5 criminals. Fucking Joker's gang.
Yeah.
Criminals and cops.
And then fucking what's his name is Harvey Dent. Oh fuck. Why does his name just escape me? The guy was always selling alcohol in the 80s.
Oh, Billy D. Williams?
Yes, yeah. I was like, why? I can fucking picture him. His name wasn't coming to me. Anyway, it can't rain all the time. Welcome to Happy Suffer. Although it has been raining for 5 days straight here, so...
Yeah.
Disagree.
Guess it can rain all the time.
Wrong, Eric.
Yeah, dummy.
Idiot.
That's why they should have thrown you out the window.
Yeah.
This is episode 253 of Happy Suffer. My name is Skank.
I'm Top Dollar.
And I'm Fun Boy.
And we are joined by
T-Bird.
Hey, what's up?
Tintin.
I want to be the Crow.
Yeah. Shayne is Jason Momoa as the Crow.
Oh my god.
Oh, wait, can I be Ernie Hudson?
Yeah. There you go.
Yep, that's right.
Your Ghostbuster.
Literally.
We are talking about 1994's The Crow.
Okay, so now I'm also... Okay, before Shayne refused to quit his job to come on this podcast on time, first of all, which I found really offensive. We were talking about, like, who is going to be the new Crow in a
New stuff in
reboot,
you, though.
question mark?
New
I
Crow.
don't, we
and
absolutely don't need. But, so we landed on it as Bill Skarsgård, which, you know, whatever. But then now it also says that it is just a remake, because it says resurrected to avenge the deaths of himself and his fiance, played by F.K. Twigs.
FK, yeah, it's like a...
I know.
Rap, yeah.
Why?
What?
What a weird thing going on here.
Look, everyone else that hires a musician, it's Lady Gaga, so, like, I'm fine with this.
I want Lady Gaga to be Eric Draven.
No, I'm telling you, Dave Bautista as Eric Draven.
Hear me out.
Okay.
Michael St. Michael's, a.k.a. Big Ronnie from the Greasy Strangler.
Now, there was The Crow, the original version, was in, like, production hell for a long time, and there was a point where somebody... I don't know what studio it was, but somebody optioned a script where it was a musical and Michael Jackson was the Crow.
I'm in.
Oh my god.
I'll watch the absolute shit out of that. Yeah, we were talking about before we started recording how, like, all of the trivia on IMDb is like, everyone hated every aspect of this movie until, like, Daly started coming in. Like, the guy that James O'Barr hated fucking Brandon Lee's casting. Brandon Lee hated his makeup until he started doing it and seeing it on film. Like, all of this shit. Apparently Cameron Diaz was originally going to play Shelley.
Weird.
The fuck?
Yeah. It's like all of these people that were attached to this that I'm just like, I don't see this at all. What the fuck? Michael Berryman was like filmed in this and it was cut?
Oh, I think I knew. I think his footage exists on. There's
like
a
the
special
DVDs
edition.
or whatever.
Yeah, I think there's a special edition DVD with that footage on it.
Come on.
You should never. It's fucked up. They cut Michael Beard.
Yeah, how are you gonna cut like the coolest looking person in any movie? Anyway.
Oh man, he looks cool as shit too.
Yeah, his name is Skull something like
Skull Cowboy.
The Skull
Come on,
Cowboy.
man.
Yeah,
gosh.
he's in the. It's a character from the comic book.
Yeah, I've read the like original run, but it's been like a fucking years. And I remember really liking them. I have like a couple of the spin-offs still, but it's been a long time since I've actually read them. This was my favorite movie for like a handful of years. Like I was obsessed with this movie as a kid. And I gotta say, does not hold up. Like it's still good, but it's like it's just so dated, which like it happens, but
It's also like, I think not surprising to anyone, I was also obsessed with The Crow. If you've ever met me, I don't think that will come as a surprise to anybody. But I found, like, watching it now, I was like, this is drags a little bit. Like, when this is, I would say, like, absolutely used to be one of my favorite movies, and I had, of course, like, I actually had an umbrella that said it can't rain all the time, and it had like a picture of him like standing out in the rain with his arms up, and he didn't have a shirt on, of course, because like, no offense, he's gorgeous, and I was like obsessed with him, and I think that I just really liked the idea of it more so because this is like not a movie that I and like you guys know me, I will watch a movie every single fucking day if I like it. This is not one of those movies that I continue to watch every year, even though I do consider it like one of my like higher favorites. So it's been a couple years, I think, just because it's like, I don't know, not whatever. And I was like, I remember it being like so much faster paced than like I remember him just like, you know, because like the plot of it is just like he's going to get like revenge kills on these guys, and in my mind they happened like fast, and it kind of is a little bit slow, and there's just like a lot of scenes where he's just like doing weird stuff that like we don't really need to be, like he's like shredding a guitar on the roof, and then one time he's just like, I don't know, there just was a lot of weird like
can you imagine
in between parts
how sick Dave Bautista would look just in shadows, just played a fucking Fender Stratocaster up on a roof.
slamming it, breaking it. I think he would do better than Jason Momoa in my mind.
Oh no, Jason Momoa was horrendous casting from the start.
Could you imagine them do like him coming in with his like beard, his like huge beard, and then they just like smear makeup all over his face, and it's like all in his beard and shit?
Yeah,
I actually want it now. You persuade me.
No, see, I'm telling you, that's why he's gonna be a perfect Lobo in the DC movies.
Yeah, fine, good.
Cover him in white makeup, get rid of those tribal tattoos, have him swinging chains at people.
I think he's a perfect Lobo. Perfect Eric Draven, I do not think so. And
oh, go ahead.
I don't really care about whatever Skarsgård this is, to be honest with you. At least he does have
Pennywise.
That weird, like, Bill. I get their names mixed up. I don't know. He does have at least that, like, weird, like, his bone structure is at least unique enough, I think, that, like, he'll be okay. He'll be fine.
Should have been Doug Jones.
I mean, yeah.
Kit, Shayne, thoughts on The Crow?
I had the opposite experience of y'all in that, like, I didn't give a shit about The Crow at all growing up. Like, my closest connection to it is that Sting just, like, aped the Crow's appearance and looked fucking cool as hell.
Yeah.
That's the most I ever cared about The Crow. But I'd seen it, like, once or twice, and I thought it was pretty good. And then watching it this morning, I was like, no, this shit actually rips. Like, this is fucking cool. I'm into it.
Yeah, I agree with Kit. Eric Draven shredding guitar on the roof. You need it. It's good.
Absolutely.
I'm fully on board with that scene.
He was a rocker. He was dead for a year. He had to come back and like whip out some tasty licks between murders.
Yeah, that's very fair.
I think loading up wedding rings and shit and a shotgun.
That is the coolest goddamn thing
cool.
still. I was obsessed with that, like, as a 12-year-old. I was like, that fucking rocks, and it still rocks. I think for me, like, anytime they cut to, like Top Dollar, I guess, and, like, all of his shit, I just, like, check out. I'm like, just get back to him killing off thugs and, like, Top Dollar's henchmen or whatever, and, like, then, you know, get to that at the end. But, like, every time they cut to that shit, I, like, check out. Or, like, fucking Ernie Hudson giving pep talks to the little girl and shit. Like, I don't know. I just want more. I needed 3 more revenge killings in this movie, exactly, for it to get back to 5 stars.
Yeah, I do think there's a lot of side stuff going on that
And
I
more
don't
Tony
care
Todd.
about. Yeah.
Who I did not remember being in this movie.
I didn't either until he showed up, and I was like, what the hell?
What a list of really cool voices to have in a film.
Oh, it's insane.
Tony Todd, Ernie Hudson, Michael Wincott.
I feel like there's no way, like, almost everybody cast as, like, somebody that he gets revenge on in this movie is gotta be doing, like, a bunch of voiceover work. I know Tony Todd does. I think Tony Todd does Darkseid in the DC stuff.
I need Michael Wincott in every movie.
Honestly, just take this cast and put them in every action movie.
Well, except for Brandon Lee, who is
R.I.P.
dead.
Excuse me?
What?
Like right before we started recording, I was like, "Yo, I got some bad news for you." According to IMDb
I
trivia,
can't believe it.
Did you guys know this?
I've learned today, biggest heartbreak of my life. I do have to say that, like, every time in this movie that he gets shot, I was like, oh, too soon.
oh no, like you could, like, I think it's like pinpointed, like at least, in like documentaries and shit, like you could, like, they show you exactly when it happened. It's still like on film in the movie.
Traumatizing, yeah.
I think didn't they do an episode of Cursed Films on this?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
Like,
they
I'm
did.
like, you guys are really stretching the idea of cursed films in this series.
Yeah, that show is kind of dumb. I don't know.
Only aspect I enjoy is the Wizard of Oz episode that I watched and was like, wow, Greg Turkington is like way into Wizard of Oz. And then now that I've watched some of On Cinema, was like, oh, he's doing his version of himself from On Cinema. This makes sense. Because he keeps like putting tapes in and then like staring at the camera, like, in that, like, the way he does on the show. And I was like, okay, now that I've seen some episodes of this makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I don't know that I like the idea of, like, quote unquote cursed films, but then once you start watching it, like, specifically The Exorcist, like, you kind of just start to realize that everything that went wrong was just because the directors are shitty. So, like, maybe the curse is, like, that they have to deal with these people and not just, like, they're like, oh yeah, all these, like, people had accidents. Yeah, because they're doing unsafe shit.
Well,
like,
yeah, I was gonna say, like,
oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, like, most of the episodes just fall into someone was an idiot on set, like Twilight Zone the movie and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's not a curse. It's just the directors love child abuse.
Like, literally, yeah.
All right, let's talk about the Crow soundtrack for an hour and a half.
All right, I'm down.
The absolute banger of all banger soundtracks.
Unironically, very good. Like,
No, it's perfect.
Got
It's
nothing
not-
on Twilight.
no,
The number one
definitely
selling
not.
soundtrack of all time, featuring Radiohead or whatever.
It's the second ever under Chicago. But
The fuck, is that true?
Yeah.
Huh. Hate that.
Whenever we did our new metal episode, obviously there was, like, a lot of that we were like, yeah, this is maybe just me. I was like, yeah, this is the best soundtrack ever, because I picked Queen of the Damned, which, as we know, it's not the best.
Yeah, it's Spawn.
It
my
was
pick.
Freddy versus Jason.
it was
We've been arguing about this for over a year.
literally, actually. And that was actually, like, a Patreon episode that is on our main feed, so I think that was a good episode. Go listen to it. Where that was like a lot of like, well, I don't know. This is like extremely like it's new metal, right? Because it can only be whatever. This is unironically very good.
No,
soundtrack.
this is probably the best movie soundtrack for me. Still, I just listened to it on Spotify where I could just hide the Pantera cover. Fuck Pantera. Although that Poison Idea cover slaps. I was way into it when this came out, but not anymore. But Ghost Rider by Rollins Band, banger. The Violent Femme song, banger. Dead Souls by Nine Inch Nails, better than the Joy Division version. Just everything. Just banger after banger. Burn by The Cure, maybe the greatest song ever written. The gothiest song ever written.
Yeah, you're literally, don't have to convince me. It's in the best, this, and they do a back-to-back, and it's like the best part of the movie that we'll get to where Eric is like doing his, whatever the fuck that makeup is, that 13-year-old me was like, this is the hottest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's trying to be Sting.
Transitions from he loved wrestling. It transitions from that Cure song, and then he puts on like leather pants and jumps out the window, and that like transitions immediately into Nine Inch Nails, and I was just like, has there ever been a better segment of cinema? I don't think so.
The Dead Souls cover is so fucking good.
I mean, amazing.
Then you got fucking Darkness by Rage Against the Machine on there for some reason. This is fucking banger. That, like, I don't like this song about fucking the government taking over Africa and AIDS, and you're just like, why is this in The Crow? Alright, anyway. Let's get into it.
Okay. So, the movie starts on October 30th, which is Devil's Night. And we get an overshot of the city, and there's just a bunch of burning buildings. I'm going to say that watching this in 2023, the set that they've built combined with like the fake fire, I felt like I was watching a fever dream. It was like so weird to figure out like what was going on. Like obviously, I don't know.
I thought I'd hit play on Demolition Man, to be honest.
I mean, I just assume this is what every city's gonna look like in 10 years, so...
It's just LA.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, yeah, but...
pretty much just what, like, Manhattan's gonna look like in 4 years.
Yeah, that's fair. Completely dark.
No
everything's
libraries.
in shadow. No library. Yeah, very strange. And then we get this like voiceover of a girl who's in the movie for question mark reason, named Sarah, who says, people once believed that when someone dies, a crow carries their soul to the land of the dead. But sometimes something so bad happens that a terrible sadness is carried with it, and the soul can't rest. And then sometimes the crow can bring their souls back to put the wrong things right.
What a good idea for a movie.
Amazing. I love it.
But...
Yes, perfect. Love it. Everything. We're introduced to one of the other main characters, who is... A lot of these people I wrote their real names and not their movie names, so...
I mean, look. Everybody that gets cast in a movie should have to act under their real name.
I agree.
No more character names.
So we're introduced to our sergeant, who is Ernie Hudson, of course. And they're basically, there's just like a scene of the police like investigating a crime scene. There's a lady on the floor who's like really bloodied and is not doing very good. And one of them says it is Shelby Webster, and there's another, oh my gosh, victim named Eric Draven, and they were supposed to get married the next night, which is Halloween, which of course at 13 I was like, oh my god, that's so romantic. But then the other cop goes, who gets married on Halloween? And then the other guy goes, nobody. And I was like, that's mean. They were in love.
Yeah, they know they wanted. They know the easiest way to remember your anniversary is get married on Halloween.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Then there's just like a bunch of cop banter. Ernie Hudson's boss is like, I'm assuming it's his boss. He's kind of just like a dickhead to him the whole time for no reason.
Yeah, who could
So
have
they
guessed
just like,
that
yeah, I mean, yeah,
the fucking boss of a cop would also be a piece of shit.
so terrible. And they just kind of like banter or whatever as they're wheeling. Her name is definitely Shelly, but I wrote Shelby, so we'll see how many times that happened. Shelly is wheeled out on a stretcher, and at this point she's like still alive, but she's like not doing great, right? And Sarah skateboards up, does a kickflip off the ambulance, and is like, "What's up?" And Ernie is just like, "Oh," and she's like, "Oh my God, is that Shelly?" And Ernie's like, "Yeah, she'll be fine."
No, it's Shelby.
Yeah, dummy.
You fucking
Just
idiot.
get your friend's name right.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, she'll totally be fine." And then Sarah's just like, "She's not gonna be fine, is she?" And he was just like, "No." And then they hug. There's also a crow there. Just assume there's always a crow in the wings.
Yeah, it's like Fight Club where there's like a Starbucks coffee cup in every scene. There's just a crow in every scene.
It's a crow.
Yeah. And the crow has a Starbucks coffee cup.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's just true in real life. It's just impossible to get a shot of a crow not having a Starbucks cup in its hand.
Okay, new t-shirt, crow with Starbucks cup. Oh, crow holding meat shake. All right.
There you go.
There it is.
Nailed it.
If for those of you who haven't listened to 200 episodes, we used to talk about meat shakes all the time. Okay, Sarah says that Shelly and Eric used to just take care of her because her mom fucking sucks, and Ernie Hudson is just like, "Sorry about that," and like hugs her or whatever. And now it's a whole year later, so we're back on Devil's Night again. And so, like, what we come to learn...
Sure takes his fucking time. He looks pretty good, too, for, like, a guy that's been buried underground for a year.
And I want to say, like, maybe this is one of the later movies, but for some reason I thought he came back looking like that already, and it was, like, a part of... I didn't remember him putting the makeup on himself to be weird. So when he came out of the grave and he was, like, normal, and I was like, what's... Like, I just didn't remember that happening. But...
I have not seen anything past City of Angels, so we're gonna find out.
Okay.
Pretty sure in the other ones they come out of their grave with the makeup already on. Like, I'm fairly certain, what's his name from Terminator 2?
Edward Furlong.
Yeah, that guy. He comes out with the makeup on.
It's like they're like, we don't have time to film a scene, you put makeup on.
Yeah, just I think it will surprise no one that my favorite Crow at the time was the one that came out in 2000, the Crow Salvation. I 100% expect it to be. I'm not kidding. Yeah, I expect it to be
no one's favorite Crow in the history of time.
Even the people that made it.
Me and Baharat love it. Okay, I don't expect it to be good at all. I think that maybe I was just trying to be different. I don't know. What can I say? I'm pretty sure that he comes out fucked up though. Maybe that's what I'm remembering it from. Anyway.
I mean,
I just
he has short hair, so that's fucked up.
I gotta say,
Yeah.
I got high hopes for Mark Dacascos or whatever.
Oh my God,
Iron Chef being the best Crow.
His name's Alex Corvus in it.
Yep.
I hate this franchise.
I'm
stupid.
Who even is the Crow in that one? I quit watching. I haven't seen anything after the City of Angels except for like 2 episodes of the TV series. I just know Kirsten Dunst is in it for some reason.
Yeah.
It is Eric Mabius,
Yeah.
a.k.a. Greg from Cruel Intentions, or Matt from Resident Evil.
Yeah, I was gonna say Resident Evil. So he was semi-relevant at the time. You know.
Was he?
I guess.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think Cruel Intentions and Resident Evil were pretty big.
Cruel Intentions was huge, but I haven't seen that since it was in the theater.
Like, he's not Ryan Philippe. Like,
yeah,
that's the only person anyone fucking remembers from that movie.
I only know Eric Mabius. I don't even know who the fuck Ryan
I don't even know if
is.
I've heard this guy's name out loud until just now.
Well,
like,
I can't wait till we get to
I
it.
literally have a 0% of him on Letterboxd, so
He just did his performance of a lifetime and moved on, as most people do. So just
He's got
we'll
a lot
see.
of what looks like to be maybe Lifetime movies.
Yeah. Put some
But-
respect on
Nice.
his name,
Oh no, these are all
okay?
Hallmark, I think. So yeah.
Oof,
Now I know why
yeah,
Katie
we're
knows.
Totally
changing.
different.
What? No, I stand Lifetime original movies. They're bangers. Hallmark, not so much. Hallmark is for Christmas girlies, and that's not me.
I just like that he's second build to Kirsten Dunst in it. So the Crow
Well-
is second build.
As he should be.
Yeah, I mean, fair.
God, Edward Furlong, Tara Reid, and David Boreanaz in a Crow movie, and Dennis
Oh,
Hopper.
yeah.
Oh my God, David
That's a-
Boreanaz is in that one.
Danny
That's a
Trejo,
fucking banger.
Macy Gray.
Yeah.
This movie's gonna be fucking
Yeah,
dog
bro.
shit.
I cannot wait.
I'm
That-
I'm not sure. There's no. Well, okay.
Oh,
I was about
wait,
to say-
okay, never mind. I'm in. It's the director of Six String Samurai. This movie's gonna be a fucking banger.
What the fuck? Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's that same guy?
Yeah,
I'm going to have to watch
Lance
that.
Mungia.
Six
have
String
a
Samurai
way-
is good.
Yeah, Six String Samurai rocks.
I have a way stronger attachment to that Crow film than the original
I
one.
can't fucking wait
I
to
watch that one on
this now.
Sci-Fi all the time.
Oh, yeah, that checks out.
Well, unfortunately, we're still talking about the original Crow. So
I mean, I guess it's pretty good,
yeah,
but it doesn't have Dennis Hopper, so like,
yeah. Yeah, it's a normal movie, so we'll see what happens as we go along. Okay, so it's a year later, as I said. Sarah is saying more stuff, as she does, and then she basically. Oh, what I was saying was, for some reason in this universe, Devil's Night is a night where I don't even know who Top Dollar is supposed to be. He's just like the leader of like a bunch of dudes that just, I guess, do whatever they want. And so he created the idea that like on this one night, which is the night before Halloween, people go around and set buildings on fire. Like that's his
hell
thing.
yeah, that's sick.
And so yeah, and so there's already like uprest when that's happening. So Sarah is saying a bunch of stuff, and she says, two people who are meant to be together, nothing can keep them apart. Which is very nice, but upon reflection doesn't really have much to do about this movie because Shelley remains dead, and he is not with her. So, you know.
The awesome of this movie is just him like crawling out of one grave and then into the other one.
Yeah, slowly digging in. I'm just like, oh, that's the end.
Gotta get it.
The Crow.
Oh, no, thank you. I don't desire murder. Sorry. Sarah is at the graveyard. She is taking flowers from other graveyards so that she has flowers to give to Shelley and Eric. She gives Shelley a whole handful and she gives Eric only one, which I think is fair. And then a crow, if you can believe it, lands on his grave. Then Sarah kickflips off into the street. She goes to Maxi Dog's, where she kind of establish that she has a relationship with Ernie Hudson at this point, and he calls her genuine hot dogger.
Oh yeah.
Even though when she gets the hot dog, she doesn't seem like she knows how to eat a hot dog. So there's that.
They're hard to eat.
And those fucking hot dogs were so long. That was like a foot-long hot dog.
I think I might have just stumbled across some gay erotica based on The Crow.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of it.
Yeah, but this was
I'm
through
shocked
the
you had
library.
to stumble across it.
I was trying to see if like the library app I use had like the original comics. I was like, I'm gonna read these, and instead it's just a lot of what looks to be self-published gay erotica about The Crow that I'm also
a
gonna
little
read.
more surprised that it's through the library, but I would be more surprised if there wasn't.
Oh no,
any
yeah,
kind
I
of
assumed
shenanigans.
there was. I was just not expecting to see it like.
Who's
from
it
the
between?
library. I don't know. I didn't get that far.
The Crow and the Crow.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like kind of interested. So just let me
Interspecies
know.
erotica.
Oh no, I don't. I'm not into that. Sorry.
I feel
As
like
I've said many times, I'm not a furry. Okay, you guys.
I feel like it would have to be like the crow fucking the gang, right? Like
So
to get them
somebody,
somehow.
one of the characters in this book is named Brian Williams, so I'm going to assume it's like the Crow and
News anchor.
Brian Williams.
He's making up reports about how he's in Afghanistan, reporting.
I refuse to look any further into it, and I'm just going to assume that's what it is.
I don't know why in my mind it is like two different versions of the Crow together.
Yeah, should be.
I
Edward Furlong and Brandon Lee.
Listen, okay. Pull my arm. My leg, or whatever the saying is.
Pull my arm.
Pull my finger.
I just have like a situation in my head now where it's like Top Dollar and the Crow is like, they call you Top Dollar, but tonight you're Bottom Dollar.
Yeah.
It writes itself, honestly.
It really does.
Let us direct the next Crow movie.
Top Dollar is already going being a boy, like in a relationship with his sister. So I mean, what else could be going on here?
I think we got $1 billion idea on our hands.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't even need to change Fun Boy's name.
Actually, a lot of them kind of work. I
Pretty
feel.
much just writes itself.
Yeah, literally. Listen, if they didn't intend that when they wrote this in 1994, like, there's no way they didn't know, right?
I don't know. That's a pretty hard fucking henchman name. Like, you come out and they're like, "Oh, it's just Fun Boy," and then you just start fucking people up.
Yeah. So here's the gang. A ragtag bunch of dudes, whose names I didn't find out until other parts of it. So we'll just see how that goes. Because I think I called T-Dog Dude Leader for a long time.
T-Bird.
Yeah, Dude Leader.
Yeah. Because I wrote bunch of dudes busting up an arcade, maybe. And so then I just was calling them the dudes. So
they have that adorable like hyping each other up thing where they're like slamming forearms.
Yeah. What was their phrase? Fire it up or something?
Yeah, it's just dudes
Fire
being
it up,
dudes.
fire it up. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
dudes rock.
shenanigans around town, listening to The Cure together.
What a life.
So,
Bonding.
like dudes do. So they're doing that. There's a crow looking around, and it's really serious now because the ground starts pulsating. And somebody crawls out of a grave and yells. I feel like it would be quite a shock to wake up a year after you died and then have to bust through your casket and then climb your way out.
Well,
disorienting,
my biggest
to
fear
say
is
the
being
least.
buried alive, so no
Yeah.
thank you on any of that.
So, so he is just like, basically there's just like a long shot of him stumbling around like, whoa, what the fuck? And I mean, obviously it's Eric. He's come back from the dead. He's stumbling around, just kind of like following the crow around town. The group of the dudes, they zoom off in their car, and then the arcade explodes. And, yeah, so this, this stuff is just happening around town. They're doing shenanigans. Eric eventually arrives back to his previous apartment, where he was murdered or whatever, and his adorable cat Gabriel is somehow still there and alive, thankfully. And Eric has, throughout the movie, he has these like flashbacks, like mostly of his times with Shelley. In this specific moment, he has a lot of flashbacks of what happened that night, which was essentially that this is like such a minor subplot. We, like, Ernie Hudson mentions it once, and then T-Bird, T-Dog? T-Bird.
T-Bird.
T-Bird dog.
T-Bird
he mentions
dog.
it very offhandedly also, which is that there was like some kind of thing going on in the building that they lived in where they were trying to like force tenants out. And Shelly was like really against it and was like fighting it or whatever. So these dudes broke into their apartment, beat up and assaulted her. And then when Eric came home during it, they were just like, ha, kill him. And they threw a knife at him and then throw him out the fucking window. And that's what happened that night.
Seems terrible.
Yeah, not great. And here's a moment where I said, why? He's just like having memories, and then he grabs onto the window frame and like does like a kick, like kicks out the window kind of, and then comes back in. And I was like, what's going on there?
It's cool as shit.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
I mean, well, and then
literally, I feel like most of the aesthetic of this movie is they were just like, this doesn't make any sense, but it looks cool. Just do it.
Yeah.
I
mean,
think,
fair.
I think legitimately the reason that's there is because that was supposed to be him reenacting getting thrown out the window, but he's like, oh, I'm not actually going to do it.
Yeah, could be. I mean, because
I think
then
it's just
it does...
better to be him just like thinking the idea that he's by himself and he's like, this is going to look cool as fuck to nobody.
They just like put him in the room and they're like, just do stuff and like just figure it out. So he does that, right? He like, and it does this like weird overshot view of like the building in the city. And he comes back in and realizes that he's cut his hands on the window, but then they heal immediately. So I guess like it is showing us he's got like super healing powers or whatever.
Dream.
Yeah. Then there's a shot of the dudes in a bar, and one of the guys swallows a bullet for some reason.
Also, because that's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Again,
They're
just
super hard.
This whole
They're doing
movie,
shots.
this whole movie's it's just dudes being dudes, Katie.
Yeah.
It's like the director was like, what's the most badass way you could possibly do a whiskey shot? Like, what if you swallowed it with like a bullet from a 357?
Yeah.
Well,
Like instead of the worm, just like, nah, just toss a bullet in there. It's fine.
So he does that. Very brave. And then I'm just
picturing the like, you know how they put like those like warnings before movies now on like streaming services that'll be like, this is like features like out of date stereotypes, blah blah blah, whatever. Like I just want the warning that's like, kids don't eat a bullet.
Right. I did. Yeah. Right. The disclaimer.
Rated R for bullet swallowing.
And I actually don't even know who that was that did it, because I wasn't writing their names at this point. Probably Fun Boy, because he's fun.
Yeah,
you know,
because he knows how to have
wacky
fun.
little bullet swallower. And then T-Bird puts out a cigar on his tongue. Very cool. Also. Then they pretend to fight, or they're just like, what'd you fucking say to me? And then they like pull out their guns, and then another guy pulls out his gun, and then they're all like, haha, fire it up, and they're just really palling around, honestly. Oh, here's another Shelby. Eric has memories of Shelby. It's just like one of those like stereotypical montages where they're like laughing and squirting whipped cream on each other and just like having a goofy pal around.
The Zoolander gasoline fight.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. Yes. And this is when he sees a mask that he just finds incredibly cool. So he paints his face to look like the mask, which is how we got the...
Would have been better if it was the Jim Carrey mask.
Oh my god.
What a crossover.
Yeah, that's where Cameron Diaz would have come in.
Yeah, exactly. Terrible.
Oh my god, we fucked up by not having Jim Carrey as the Crow.
Yeah, they could have done the Crow too, where like the Crow puts on the mask. Like, you know how there's that one where the dog puts on the mask? It could have been the Crow. Mess up.
We could get all the way to like Son of Crow as a movie.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the scene where he is, he's like upset. He like punches his fist on the mirror, and he's like, "Oh man, I'm just so sad and heartbroken." And
we've all been there.
Seriously though, and he paints his face to match the mask to the Cure, and then he puts on some leather pants, and he's just so badass that he has to like jump out the window and parkour around the city to Nine Inch Nails, following the Crow. everywhere, and it's just like iconic.
I can't believe you guys are saying this movie doesn't hold up.
Right? Like,
what?
you just describing it sounds cool as hell.
I know. And then later there's that gunfight with My Life with the Thrill Kill Cole performing. Like, this is. How do you not love this?
Oh, I didn't say it's bad. I just don't think it didn't hold up for me as like as it did when I was 12 years old, which is fair for most movies.
Yeah. I actually don't know how old I was when I finally saw this because I was like 7 when it came out.
Shit
So
in a theater like the week it came out.
Yeah, I saw it in the theater like 3 times.
There's no way somebody took a 7-year-old me to see it, but if they did, I think it would explain a lot. So maybe. So yeah, he's just parkouring around the city to Nine Inch Nails, perfect. And then he just like does a backflip from the roof down to the ground, and he's like, haha, this is very cool, because he didn't die. So
that's how I feel every time I don't die.
He has like a really he's got like a soft spot for jumping, like being thrown or jumping off a building and not dying, since like that kind of happened already. So he's into it.
I wish the remake would have like came to fruition like a decade ago, so we would have got some weird parkour dude as the Crow instead.
Absolutely. The guy who directed like District B13 fucking directing it.
Yeah, I mean, those movies are sick. That would have been awesome.
We fucked up. We failed as a society.
What else is new?
Yeah, fair.
True. I blame Joe Brandon.
Yeah.
This is his fault.
If Dark Brandon had existed by then, we would have fucking... Well, you know what? Joe Biden is the Crow.
Crow Biden.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh my god.
And then he gets on the fuck bus after he dies.
Yeah.
Say, who's bringing up the fuck bus?
He's gonna be on the bang bus with the Crow makeup on.
Yes.
He makes like everyone else do the Crow makeup too, and they're just like, God.
Crow ride on the bang bus.
Yeah.
What's
The
up,
music,
Jack?
the music on the bang bus just got very different.
God, what a good movie that would be.
Okay, so this is when Eric, not Joe Biden, confronts
No, this is Joe Biden from now on.
Yeah.
Confronts like the first of the dude gang, which is Tintin. And Tintin is kind of cool because he's like, I feel like he is the part of it that you can tell this came from a comic book, because he's like the throwing knives guy. And then the rest of the dudes just have like, they're just like normal, except for Top Dollar, who uses a katana, of course, because you have to. And he's got long hair, so he looks like a comic book guy too. But the other guys just like have guns, which is like whatever. So they basically like fight, right? They slam each other into puddles of mud and like buildings and whatever. And Eric is basically grilling him about the murders, and he's like, do you remember when this happened? And Tintin's kind of just like, no. And then he's like, yeah, you do. It was a year ago. And he was like, oh, yeah, I guess I did. I did it. And it was awesome. I fucking loved it. And Eric's like, no! Like, don't ask questions you don't want answers to, you know? Is all
If
I'm
somebody
saying.
had been like, do you remember this? And said it was a year ago, I'd be like, that still doesn't clear it up.
Yeah, no.
I don't remember what happened 2 days ago, let alone a year ago.
Seriously. This is where, throughout the movie, too, we get Crow vision, which, very cool. It's basically just, like, black and white fisheye.
Always good.
If you like, yeah. So then, finally, they just kind of, like, fight about as he's, like, grilling him about what happened. And then, Eric is just like, come on, do it, man. And so he throws his last knife at Eric, but Eric catches it midair because he's so badass. And then he just, like, fucking stabs the guy a bunch. Cool. T-Bird, yeah, end. He's like, that was enough revenge for 1 year. What if he had, like, he could only kill one person then he had to go back, and then he had to come back every year. That would be quite taxing.
I still think it would be way better if he was just endlessly fucking like a corpse the whole time. It should be like a year of decay on his body throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, it is I don't really understand the year wait period. Maybe they explain it more in the comic. Like maybe there's more of a story to that in the comics. I don't know. Let me know if you read it.
I'm just
okay,
reading that book where he fucks Joe Biden.
All right. Let me know about that too. Okay, so T-Bird goes to tell. I don't even know Tony Todd's name in this, but it's Tony Todd.
Grange.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Goes to tell Grange, essentially, that the arcade got blown up. He goes to tell Top Dollar that. Or Top Dollar and Tony Todd, whatever. And he's like, yeah, the arcade got blown up. And he's like, or not the arcade, I'm sorry. Yeah, they blew up the arcade. All right, that part I didn't even really need to talk. Anyways, like throughout this whole movie, there's people coming to, and Tony Todd is like Top Dollar's like right-hand man, right? Like he goes out and like he brings back news of like what's happening in his empire or whatever the fuck. And Top Dollar just like hangs out in his like penthouse apartment and like sleeps with his sister, who's also his girlfriend or something, and like doesn't really do anything else. So there's like scenes of that throughout, essentially. This is where Eric goes to the pawn shop. Tintin previously was there or whatever, and so basically the owner of the pawn shop is John Polito, who
killing it.
People would definitely recognize his face if they don't know his name. So he plays the pawn shop owner, and he's basically just like, okay, dude, like, I'm fucking closed, you freak. And Eric just, like, headbutts the glass on the door and breaks it. And I was like, very cool. And breaks in and is basically just like, hey, and he's like, dude, I'm fucking closed. And he's like, I mean, it's fine. I just need one moment. And he says that he's looking for a gold engagement ring. I'm not really sure why the ring would be there a year later, but it's fine. He
I mean, the same reason that, like, his house is still, like, police taped up a year later.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't seem like anything in the city, fucking nothing happens in the city.
Yeah, that's fair.
Everyone leaves for a year.
Yeah.
That's why it had to take a year.
Yeah,
Everyone leaves on Halloween Day, and then they come back Devil's Night.
It's just like vacation
Okay,
towns or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
And John doesn't really want to give up his wares, right? So he takes out his gun and shoots him, and Eric is just like, ain't no thing, because it heals immediately. And then he's like, oh, this is not great, right? So Eric ends up finding the ring box and gets the engagement ring that he gave Shelley back, and is like, oh, perfect. And then he's trying to figure out like where the rest of the dudes are, and you know, he's like questioning him while like he's like busting the pawn shop up and whatever. And he also steals a guitar, and he's starting to leave, and he's basically just like, I want you to tell those guys and T-Bird that Eric Draven's coming for him, and I'm gonna let you live so you can spread that message or whatever. And then he says something, I don't even remember what he says, basically like they're gonna fuck you up maybe or something. And so Eric puts a bunch of rings in his gun and then shoots it into the pawn shop, and the pawn shop explodes.
Very cool.
Not to mention before, he goes, do I smell gasoline? Extremely hard.
So
what a cool guy.
Yeah, he had a whole year to think of one-liners, so they better be
thinking up how he's gonna fucking murder these guys and say cool shit before he does it.
Exactly.
Respect.
Meanwhile, Ernie Hudson, they've found Tintin's body. He's got like 6 knives in him. And there's also a painting of a crow on the wall in blood. Very cool. Then this is where, like, oh yeah, okay, so the pawn shop explodes. Eric, comes walking out just, like, nonchalant or whatever. And Ernie Hudson was nearby, so he comes and he gets out of the car and, like, tells him to freeze or whatever. And he's like, Freezer, you're dead. And he says, and I say, I'm dead, so I won't freeze. Or something.
Yeah, he's like, he says, don't he says freeze, and then he's like, "Don't move," or you're dead. And then the crow,
So, and he's like, whatever. And so he starts like walking towards him. And he's like, hey, like stop, like don't come near me or whatever. And then a bunch of looters come to like loot the pawn shop. And so Ernie Host is like, hey, get away, don't be doing that. And of course, when he looks back, Eric has disappeared. This is when Tony Todd tells Top Dollar that the pawn shop has burned down, and he's like, I didn't fucking say it was okay to do that. Like, I didn't give my permission. And T-Bird is like, we did not do that. I don't know what's going on, but also Tintin is dead. And Top Dollar is like, oh man, that sucks.
That was his favorite one.
Yeah, Tintin. Then Eric ends up saving Sarah. She's got on her skateboard and is about to just like skate right in front of a taxi or something, and he saves her, and she's just like, whatever. Ugh, I fucking hate the rain. It sucks. And then Eric goes, it can't rain all the time. And she's like, Eric? And she turns around. But again, he's gone. He's just like Batman.
I gotta figure out
every time you turn around,
like,
he's gone.
How to get known for a dumb phrase like that.
Just start saying it all the time.
I'm gonna start saying it can rain all the time.
It can rain. You know what?
Both
are true. Both are equally true. It can rain all the time, and it can't rain all the time, right? So, who is this? Okay, so this is like the scene where Ernie Hudson is back at the police office talking to some other cop about Shelly and Eric's like story. This is where we first hear the mention of the fact that she was like trying to stop basically Top Dollar's like dudes from evicting everybody in their building because of like shady shit or whatever. And he's got and this is where we find out that Eric was a rocker. He was a rock and roll boyfriend.
Yeah, as if you couldn't tell.
I mean, really. And so there's like a picture of like him and like his other bandmates like in a car in black and white. So like how more rock and roll can you get? And so Ernie Hudson's like, interesting, and draws the crow makeup on the picture of Eric Draven. And it's like in bingo bango. So smart. So this is when, let's see, Fun Boy is hanging out with who we find out is Sarah's mother, Darla. They're just, making out and doing drugs, as just having a good time. And the crow, who I don't think has a name, but he should.
Eric Crowington.
Okay. Eric Crowington hops in the window and is like, hey, what's up? And Darla is like, there's a big bird in here. And Funboy goes, it's a squab. Which I don't know why, but the word squab, it makes me laugh so hard.
It's a funny word.
And then he's like, come here, bird. And they're like talking to Eric Birdington. Wait, what did you say his name was?
Crowington.
And yeah, and then this would freak me the hell out. Eric just like steps in through the window, and it's just like, he's wearing all black. Does he have his guitar?
Yeah, I think he has
Maybe
his
he's
guitar.
got a gun. He's got something, yeah. But he literally just like slink steps in, and it's just like, hey, and they're like, oh my god, ah. And Funboy's like, you almost gave me a heart attack. And he comes in the window with his guitar. Funboy pulls out a gun and is like, I'm gonna shoot you. And then Eric is just like, walks up and like puts his hand against the barrel of the gun. It's just like, go ahead, guy. And he does. Funboy fires, and Eric is like, ow, ouchie, like pretending like, I'm sure it actually hurt.
I wish he said ouchie.
But like it heals fast, right? So he's just like, ow, ow, and then he turns around and it's just like, haha, got you, and like his hand heals. I have to say, like it didn't look great. the hand healing in this scene. I rented this on Prime, so I don't know like what version this was, if it was like remastered at all or anything like that, but like this was like the only part of the movie that looked very weird to me besides like the buildings in the beginning. But his hand heals and he's just like, hee hee, and Funboy's like, oh man, that's kind of fucked up, right? So they kind of like start shooting, he's like starts shooting him, and Eric is just like, it's fine, like, go ahead, man. And meanwhile, Darla has like run into the bathroom to like hide or whatever. Eric gets the gun and finally shoots Funboy. I was about to call him Fun Dog. I don't know what is wrong with me. Nobody's name is Dog.
You are struggling. You're struggling so hard with these names.
I know. There's nobody's name that's Dog. I don't know where I'm getting that from. Shelby, Fun Dog, T-Dog. I don't know.
Birdington.
That one really is on me. Shoots Funboy in the leg, and Funboy is like, ow, and like immediately passes out from the pain. And then he puts him in the bathtub and turns on the water. Darla is in there hiding, and she's got like a switchblade, and she's like, don't come near me. And he's just like, first of all, calm down. And he's like, you need to stop doing drugs and pay attention to your kid, who is Sarah. And Darla is like, actually, absolutely, that sounds like a good idea. See ya. And she runs out. Meanwhile, Tony Todd has come into the bar to talk to the pawn guy, the pawn owner. And while he's like trying to figure out like what happened, like was an accident, what happened, Darla comes running out. So she was like in a room that was above the bar. She comes running out, so he's like, okay, I'm gonna go investigate. And so he goes up there and sees basically Eric has turned the water on so that Funboy would wake up, and then he just like stabs and injects him with syringes, and it's gross. So when Tony Todd gets up there, Funboy's dead. Stuck with a bunch of needles, and Eric this might be my favorite part of the movie, because why? Tony Todd looks over and Eric is standing in the windowsill, and he goes, shh, and then he just steps back out, and I was like, listen, don't tell anybody, okay? Yeah, so this is when Eric goes to Ernie Hudson's house. And Ernie Hudson, at this point has figured out that Eric Draven is Eric Draven, who died a year before, and he's just like, what the fuck's up with this? And he's just kind of like, you know what? I actually don't know. But what I can tell you is, I'm here. So, like, tell me what happened. And so Eric has this, like, power where, for some reason also, he touches Ernie and he sees, like, that after Shelley was taken from the apartment, she's taken to the hospital where she's in critical condition for like 30 hours or something, where she's like, I don't know, like in the worst pain ever before she dies. And Ernie like stayed there the whole time so that if she came to enough to say like who did it, because like as far as they know, their murders are unsolved, which there were just so many people at the crime scene. I can't imagine how that would happen, but whatever.
Yeah, they're all dead now.
So he sees all of that and he's just like, don't touch me. That sucked. I don't want to see that again or whatever. And so yeah, essentially he's just like, listen, I don't know. I went back to the building afterwards and I talked to everybody, but after what happened to you guys, like nobody would cooperate with me. And so like, hey, I'm sorry. And Eric's like, okay, I guess. And he leaves. This is when the pawn guy and Tony Todd go to Top Dollar and tell them that it's Eric Draven. And he's like, that's weird because Eric Draven died a year ago. So, like, I don't really know what you're talking about and you're crazy. So he just kills him. This is where we get the line that, like, his girlfriend is also his sister. Like, what he says is, she's my dad's daughter or something like that. So they're, I don't know, half or step or something, but still very gross. I don't know what's going on with that. This is the first scene where Eric just plays electric guitar on the roof.
Should have been like 10 more of these.
Yeah, there's only 2, so lacking a little bit.
There's a character named Captain Hook in the comic books.
Ooh.
I was trying to see how the plot stacked up to the movie,
Yeah.
and it's pretty different.
Yeah, I was gonna say the basic idea is the same, but like it's pretty like top dollar is not. It's just like a street gang,
Yeah.
and then like the stuff with Eric and Shelly, how they die, are like basically he's the one that survives and like watches her get killed immediately. Anyway, yeah, it's a lot different.
Like they're just essentially like carjacked on the side of the road or whatever, as opposed to like an apartment and stuff.
For some reason, I felt like I remembered it, like he watched her die, and yeah, I remembered it that way, but I was like, oh no, he just gets stabbed and thrown out a window immediately, so...
Ooh. He like walks in the apartment, they're just like, see a bitch, and throws him out the window.
Like literally.
In the late 90s, a sequel reboot to The Crow entitled The Crow 2037 was in the works. It would be set in the future. It was written and scheduled to be directed by Robert Zombert.
Yeah, that's like that's why somewhere out there is a universe where that movie exists, and I want to live in that universe.
Desperately need a future Crow movie directed by somebody who only makes movies in the 70s.
Yeah, like why why in the future?
So it could look like Demolition Man.
Well,
could you imagine The Crow, but it just looks like the 90s Judge Dredd movie? That'd be incredible.
Stallone is the Crow.
Yes, Rob Schneider,
God.
the Crow.
Oh.
Rob Schneider is Eric Draven.
No, Rob Schneider is Eric Crowington.
Yeah.
His sidekick.
Yeah, right. Rob Schneider voices the Crow. I'm in.
Hey, what are you doing, buddy? We gotta kill some people.
Making copies. CAW.
Oh, maybe the Crow should be voiced by Pauly Shore.
Oh God.
I'm in.
All right, let's do it. And now I actually want Bradley Cooper, but he has to do his Rocket voice. I'm into that. So, what happened? Sister girlfriend. So, Eric, plays electric guitar on the roof, right? This is when the 2 remaining people of the guys on the street or whatever is T-Bird and Skank.
Oh yeah.
So T-Bird is sitting in the car, like, while Skank is, like, in a convenience store getting stuff or whatever. And he's just, chilling. Eric appears in the back seat and is just like, drive. And so T-Bird takes off, and Skank is like, hey, what the hell? And, like, runs out of the convenience store into the street and is hit by a car. Not to fear, though. He's fine because the guy gets out to fight him, and he just steals the car, which I thought was so funny. They go speeding by, Eric and T-Bird in this car, and they speed by these cops, and one of the cops goes, what in the crap? I was like, okay. What was it? Was this movie PG-13?
No, it's R.
It's R, yeah.
Like,
I think it's the first R-rated comic book movie or something like that, from what I saw.
Why what in the crap?
Because crap is a funnier word than shit.
I mean, it was pretty funny. And so the cops start chasing them. So it's Eric and T-Bird in a car being chased by the police, and then they're also being chased by Skank in a car that he stole. They're just, zooming around town. This goes on for a little bit, and the cops end up, like, T-boning Skank, and, they're fucked up or whatever. This is when, like I said earlier, T-Bird reveals that they attacked Shelly because she was fighting against like the tenant relocation program that like for some reason it's like never explained what this was, or I assume it has something to do with Top Dollar. I have no idea because they don't tell us. But they're basically just like, yeah, we didn't like that she wouldn't do this thing, so we came and like killed her. This is when T-Bird realizes that Eric is Eric Draven, and he starts like freaking out, and he's like reciting some line from like a book he read at Eric's house, and I don't remember what it is, but he's just like, obviously he's like, you're dead. Like, you can't be here. So Eric rigs the car with a bunch of explosives and puts the car in drive, so it flies off this dock and then explodes, like, right when it's going into the water.
Perfect.
And Skank sees this and is sad, of course.
That's an all-time great car explosion, too.
Yeah.
So good.
It just fucking blows the fuck up.
And then the pictures, like, when they pull the car out of the water, he's, like, fused to the seat from, like, how hot it was. Great. Meanwhile, like, while this is happening, Eric has some lighter fluid that he squirts on the ground, and then he lights it on fire, and it is a crow symbol. And I was like, that takes a lot of skill. Because the street's already wet, so I don't know how he's, like, telling where he's squirting the lighter fluid.
I can't believe that, like, WCW did not recreate this at some point with a Sting thing.
Yeah.
It's legitimately
absolutely.
shocking.
Maybe they're, like, copying the look exactly is as far as you can go. That's as much as you get. Yeah, okay. Meanwhile, Tony Todd has gone to Eric's grave, in Shelley's grave, and he finds that Eric's grave is empty, because he, dug himself out, so there's like dirt everywhere, and I guess no one has noticed that there's just a big fucking empty grave. So that seals the deal. Sarah wakes up at her house, and her mom Darla is there, and she's making her breakfast, and there's kind of like this weird like thing where Sarah is kind of like being a brat to her, but then she realizes that Darla's trying, and so they kind of like make up for her entire life, I guess, in one scene. And they're friends now. Yay. Ernie's boss. What in the fuck? Oh, so basically Ernie like goes back to the station, and his boss is just like, hey, there's all of these murders, and I know you're hiding something. Like, I know you know why these are why this is happening. And Ernie's just like, actually, I don't really know what's happening. Weird, right? And then he's just like, you know what? You're suspended. I don't want to hear it. So Ernie gets suspended. And he's like, just let me know if you want to tell me details about this. And he's like, well, Sarah goes to... So Sarah, this whole time, has been just knowing that Eric was the one that saved her, right? And I think the scene earlier was so funny. I, obviously picked out that it can't rain all the time, but she's like, "What's with your makeup? Are you a clown?" And he's like, "Sometimes." And I was like, "Okay." Sometimes he likes to clown around, So Sarah goes to Shelley and Eric's old apartment. The whole building, I think, has been, like, abandoned. And so that's why it's still just, like, intact, kind of. And before she got there, for some reason, he was burning pictures and stuff that he found from their house. And so when she gets there, she notices that the fireplace, like, there's still smoke in the fireplace, like, as if the fire has just been burned out. So she's, like, walking around the apartment. Oh, she finds Gabriel, and she's like, "Oh, Gabriel, I thought you were dead." Gabriel's very cute. He's just, like, a white, fluffy cat.
Agreed.
And, so she's just, like, walking around the apartment being like, "Hey, like, I know you're here, I know that was you, and, like, stuff, very cool, whatever." And then she just is like, "Man, I thought you cared about me," and she's gonna start leaving, and he appears in the window, and he's like, "I do care about you." And then and then they hug, Meanwhile, Tony Todd and Skank go back to Top Dollar and say, hey, by the way, T-Bird got exploded and Eric's grave is empty. So something weird is going on here, if you haven't noticed at this point. And this is our second. Eric riffs on the guitar, on his guitar again on the roof, but this time when he's done, he smashes it. So I guess that's why
Gotta
there's
get
only
one
2.
last jam session in before you go back into your grave.
Yeah, he should have took it with him. Okay. Top Dollar is like, all right, just deal with this. Like, I don't got time for this shit. And he has got to go to a Devil's Night, like, criminal meeting where he's there. He gives this, like, whole speech, and I have no idea what the fuck he's saying. He's like, I invented setting buildings on fire on Devil's Night, and now everybody does it. And it's like against the point of it, you know? And they're like, okay, so like you don't want us to set fires anymore? And he's like, that's not what I said. I want you to set one big fire so that everyone knows we still exist. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, this whole speech made no sense to me.
He's like, you know, it was better when it was underground, and then all these like posers came along and they're like riding my coattails, so we gotta fuck this town up.
Makes sense. Relatable content.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like mad that like people are like not doing crime as well as he could do crime, I guess, and like taking the credit. So
He runs for president.
President Top Dollar.
Yeah, there is literally there's a part in that speech where he's literally like, this is too commercial because they make Devil's Night masks.
Greeting cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's his whole thing, is like, oh, it's commercial. We're supposed to be doing this to create anarchy. And yeah, it's just like a very, very much like a 90s, like, oh man, this is crime is too mainstream.
Everyone's having fun setting buildings on fire, right? It's not for the right reasons anymore.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Not wrong.
Yeah, well, and so he's just like, you know, giving his speech. This is when Eric, as he does like to do, comes in through the window and is just like, hey guys, sorry to bother you, but is Skank here? Because I would like to kill him. And
What a
like,
cool move.
yeah, Top Dollar's like, actually, like, he is here, but I'm gonna kill you instead. So then the Devil's Night criminal meeting table, they all stand up and there's just basically like the big shootout, right? Where everyone is trying to shoot Eric, but it's like not really working, and he's like flipping and dodging and stabbing other people and shooting people, and he's like doing this thing where like people, like, he disappears essentially, and he's like pulling people under the table and like fucking just murderizing everybody, right?
That's where like Brady Lee was actually shot in this scene, right?
No, I think it was at the apartment, right? Or was it in the scene?
I always thought it was at the table or whatever. Like,
I think it was this scene. This is when he gets like popped in the head.
Oh, it was they fucked up the prop gun during the scene where he gets shot, like walking in on his girlfriend getting murdered or something, I think. I can't keep it all straight.
There's a lot of bullets in this movie.
Either way, so sad. So, you know, gunfight. He kills a bunch of guys. Eventually, he ends up catching Skank. Skank's like, I'm not Skank. Skank's over there. Like, you gotta give him props for trying, you know?
It's a great play.
Yeah. But Brandon is, Eric is smart, so he just throws Skank out the window. Perfect. This is when the cops come, and Eric, instead of just like walking out the window he already breaks out a separate window, just, you know, for flair, and runs. And there's this like whole scene where the cops are like chasing him in a helicopter, and he's like doing parkour on the rooftops and whatnot. And he ends up like falling down into a dumpster, and then Ernie pulls up and is like, "Get in!" And so like Eric gets in the car, but they don't drive very far because then Ernie's almost hit by another police car, and he's like, "What in the hell?" And then when he looks over, Eric's just gone, as he does, you know. Top Dollar's sister girlfriend says that the crow that's always showing up is like his link between being dead and being alive and his source of power. So if they can kill the crow, then they can kill him essentially.
Sure.
This
Yeah.
Why not?
some real fucking leaps in logic to get to that point.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if there were scenes with her that were cut, because like there is one scene where they're like they allude to the fact that like maybe she knows like witchy stuff, because they're like burning an eyeball in a goblet and then like inhaling the smoke from it or something, which is like, you know, some witchy shit. So maybe that explains how she could know that or whatever, but I don't know. Top Dollar's just like, very cool, let's do it. So there's also this very weird scene after this where Eric is standing on the street, and there's a bunch of trick-or-treaters running around, and he's really happy about it. But then it like freeze frames, and I was like, what's going on here? I don't know.
It's the end of the movie. I'm just like, that's all we got.
It kind of seemed like it, right? Like the kids are like, hee hee hee, we're kids, you know, like running around with their like masks. And he's just like, he like loves it. And they like run around him in a circle, and he's just like, this is the best thing ever. And then it like freeze frames on him smiling, and I was like, what? The end. But it's not the end. Eric returns to Shelley's grave, and Sarah is there. And she's basically just, he's like, what are you doing here? And she's like, well, you didn't say goodbye, and like, I miss you and Shelley, and like, you guys were my best friends or whatever. And then Eric's just like, okay, chill out. Gives her the engagement ring, and they hug again. And so he thinks that he's parting ways with her. She immediately gets kidnapped by Tony Todd, who takes her into a church where Top Dollar and his sister are. And Top Dollar takes the engagement ring, like, immediately. Like, she gets the ring, walks off, and it's immediately stolen. They were like, we don't have any more time for this. Like, right? We just got to get this shit done. So Eric is just, like, chilling. And through his crow vision, he sees that Sarah's in trouble. So he goes to the church. And he walks in. Tony Todd is like hiding up in the rafters and shoots the crow, and the crow's like, ow, like, poor thing. It's not like dead, but it's shot, right? So Top Dollar comes out, you know, with his katana, and is essentially just like, this is it, guy, like, say your last words. So Top Dollar shoots Eric, and he starts like beating him up, and this is when Eric realizes that he's not like invulnerable anymore, because he gets shot in the arm, and he's like, owie, you know. It hurts. And he's like, oh man, this sucks. And he starts getting beat up or whatever. This is when Ernie Hudson comes in, and he like shoots a flare or something, maybe, to like distract them or whatever, and then there's a gunfight again, like pew pew. And this is when he finds out that Eric isn't invincible anymore. And he's basically just like, okay, well, like, I'm gonna help you. Top Dollar and his girlfriend have like retreated up into like a bell tower type situation, and so they're like, okay, let's like go up here, I'll help you out or whatever. Ernie Hudson immediately gets shot and is like, oops. And Eric was like, you're supposed to stay behind me. And he was like, my bad. So he's down for the count, right? So Eric like looks up the stairs and sees that the sister girlfriend has the crow in her hands and is like, all right, this is the end. And she's about to shoot Eric, but then the crow turns on her and pecks her eyeballs out.
Hell yeah.
Which is amazing. Then she loses her balance and falls down the bell tower shaft, essentially, and dies. Very cool. Meanwhile, Top Dollar has gone up on the roof with Sarah, and Eric comes out and is just like, hey, let her go and take me instead. And Top Dollar's like, I think I'll do both. And he like throws Sarah down the roof. She's like fine though, right? It's like a peaked church roof, so she's just chilling down there. And of course it's raining, you know. They fight. Top Dollar has his katana sword, of course, and Eric pulls a like lightning rod weather vane type thing off the top of the castle, the church, and then they fight with them. Eventually, you know, they fight, they lose their weapons, they wrestle, they fall down like the roof or whatever, and Top Dollar ends up stabbing Eric through the back with his sword. And then Eric is like, okay, ow. And Top Dollar's like, you know what, guy? I'm actually genuinely sorry about what happened to you, and I think you're really brave for coming back to life after a year and like getting your revenge. I think that's totally cool. And Eric's like, okay, thank you. However, fuck you. And so Eric puts his hands on Top Dollar's face and somehow like takes the vision and pain that he took from Ernie Hudson of Shelley like suffering for 30 hours or whatever, and like transplants it over to Top Dollar, and he's just like literally like, feel her pain, bitch. And Top Dollar's like, ah, and he like freaks out and falls off the roof and gets impaled on a gargoyle.
Hell yeah.
Extremely cool, because I wish there was a longer shot of it, because we get just a second of it where he's like impaled on the gargoyle and then his blood is just like coming out of the gargoyle's mouth, and it's so cool, but it cuts away so fast. Then Eric brings Sarah down to where Ernie is, and Ernie is like gonna smoke a cigarette, and he's like, just kidding, I quit. He's like, good for you. And he's like, stay with him until some help comes. And when they turn around, Eric has just disappeared, of course. So he ends up making it to Shelley's grave, and he's like laying, like rolling around, like, oh man, I'm so tired. Everyone's finally dead, though. And then he sees Shelley walk up to him and pet his hair, and then they kiss and they disappear together. And his grave goes back to being like filled in, undisturbed, and whatever. The cops come and rescue Ernie Hudson, and his boss is like, I bet you fucking did all this and it's your fault. And Ernie's just like, shut the fuck up, finally. Like, just shut up. And then Sarah is, they kiss and disappear. Okay, Sarah is like standing outside, and there's a slow-mo of her walking up to Eric Crowington, and Eric Crowington gives her the engagement ring back, and then she's like, real love is forever. She says something longer than that, but that's the gist of it, and that's the end. I love it.
I'm gonna go listen to the soundtrack when we're done for like the 100th
Actually,
time this
totally.
month.
Yeah.
I got faith. Wicked Prayer is gonna be better than this. I'm calling it.
I think you're wrong.
All right, Katie, did you look up any news?
I did, but I didn't really see anything, to be honest.
Only good news: Samoa Joe and Twisted Metal.
Very weird. Voiced by Will Arnett, though.
Also,
okay.
like, just very strange. Apparently, topical for us, The Burning getting a 4K from Scream Factory.
A.
You can see Jason Alexander's receding hairline when he was like 20 in glorious 4K.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
All right. What did everybody watch this week? Shayne, what have you been watching lately?
Man, I intended to go see Evil Dead Rise and Sisu or whatever it's called last night because it's at the theater down the street, but I just didn't feel like I was just tired after work, so I didn't. But this is like super. I'm shocked at how much I like this, but I started watching Ted Lasso last week, and I like just binge watched the first season, half of the second season because like it's so good. I was apprehensive because it's kind of a mushy, touchy-feely, fish out of water show about sports, which is everything. Like I hate emotions, I hate sports, I hate earnestness, but it's really good. So I don't know. Probably everybody else has seen Ted Lasso at this point, but that's all I've been watching.
I also hate sports and emotions.
You might like Ted Lasso.
All right.
It's charming. It's very wholesome.
Kit, what you been watching?
Let's see. I watched Kids vs. Aliens, which was okay-ish. I don't know, but not for me.
Is it like legit? Oh, this is like a new movie.
Yeah, so it's based on the short from VHS 2, where it's like the alien abduction sleepover
the
or
one
whatever.
with the camera on the dog.
Yeah, which that short fucking rips, and I do not like Jason Eisner outside of his Dark Side of the Ring stuff. It's like it's so harsh to look at. It's like way overly saturated and just.
I feel like it's almost never a good idea when they're like, oh, we're gonna turn this short into a feature length. It almost never works.
I agree with you.
It's only like 75 minutes, and even that's still way too long for what the concept is. Like, yeah, don't recommend. What I do recommend though is a little film called Dangerous Men, which is just absolutely fucking insane. Trigger warning. It is, well, mostly it is women almost getting sexually assaulted, and then someone shows up and murders the dude trying to assault them, or they murder the dude trying to assault them. And I don't really know that there's a plot outside of that. It's just kind of like super fucking all over the place. Like it's not coherent. It's just fucking nonsense. But it has this super like upbeat, jazzy score that plays throughout the entire movie that does not match anything that's happening on screen. It is an incredible experience.
I just looked this up, this movie on Wikipedia, and the director's name is J. Rad. And the first line of the plot synopsis is the plot of Dangerous Men is nigh incomprehensible and changes abruptly towards the middle of the film.
So it 100% does. Yeah, it's on Tubi. Because of course it is.
Yeah. The greatest streaming service.
What about you, Katie?
I watched a lot of Dateline. I've grown tired of my Unsolved Mysteries 24/7 channel, so I switched over to Dateline. And Dateline is mostly like obviously them covering like true crime cases, but the hosts, there's like 3 different hosts, and they ask the craziest, unhinged questions you could ever like there's this one like example. There's like this one lady who I don't know, was like a quote unquote femme fatale. She was like a black widow, right? Like she would sleep with a guy and then kill them and move on or whatever. And there was like this guy who was like her like last victim, but he ended up like getting away or whatever. And then Keith Morrison's like, she good in bed? Like, why is that? Sir, people have died. And then just like this one guy, like it was like a missing persons case, which to me are like the hardest, right? Because you just don't know what happened to them. And the brother is like literally crying, and it's just like it's been a nightmare. Like every day we're just trying to. It's been like 3 months, and we're just trying to like keep positive and look for her and whatever. And then he's just like, "How's that been?" Like what do you mean? He just said it. It's just insane.
Is he the guy that Bill Hader did on like Saturday Night Live? Have you seen any of those?
Oh, maybe.
Where
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah, I think so.
oh,
Yeah. So it's like him and then like another guy whose last name is Mankiewicz and then some other dude. But it's just like Keith Morrison, I think he's like he is a special case because he like does faces like when he's just like she good in bed. He gives like a sly little like minxy like whatever. The other two guys are just like very monotone. So when they're asking these questions, it's just like it's salacious for real. Anyways, so I've been watching that. We finished Breaking Bad finally, so we've moved on to Better Call Saul, and it's weird because like it is a prequel, but it helps knowing people who were then later in Breaking Bad, if that makes sense. So it's like interesting. I already like Better Call Saul better, so that bodes well for me. The second season of Sweet Tooth came out, so I've been watching that. I've been having a harder time getting through this season than I did the first season, so I'm like kind of slow goings on that. Then I also started a show called, I think it's called Under the Banner of Heaven, which stars Andrew Garfield, who obviously I love, and he's playing like an LDS police detective who is investigating like a murder that takes place in this like really prevalent like Mormon LDS family, and it's like very weird but like interesting.
It's good. My partner and I watched that last year. It's based on it's like a true crime. It's based on like a real thing that happened. But yeah, it's really good.
Because it's like it starts with like the murder, and then it's like flashbacks of the family that it happened to, which I wasn't expecting. And whose son is it? Kurt Russell.
Oh yeah, Wyatt Russell. Yeah.
Who
Fake
was
Captain
in?
America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And I was like, oh shit. And he's really good in it too. It's so far I've only watched like two or three episodes, but so far I really like it. And then I'm not gonna say too much about it, but on my birthday I did go to the movie theater to see Renfield, and I went with like my uncle and aunt and like my husband. I went in like pretty much blind. I didn't see any trailers or anything. And we all really liked it. I thought it was incredibly funny, and I think I gave it like 4.5 stars. So I don't want to say too much, but I recommend it. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's like my top priority if I'm ever able to make it to a theater in the next like week or so before probably end up leaving. Originally I was like, oh, if I go see something, I'll go see Evil Dead Rise, but I think I want to see Redfield more than that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Nicolas Cage, as you would expect, is like not the main character, so he's not like the focus. But I really like Nicholas Hoult, and I think he does a really good job in this. And Awkwafina is in it, who I don't have a lot of experience with her, but I thought she was pretty funny too. So,
let's see. Pretty much my whole week has been various live Mike Patton things, and then the On Cinema Oscar specials, which are all bangers. The one with Greg Turkington dressed as the Joker,
so good,
so fucking funny. He's like the end of that episode where there's just 20 minutes of people laying on the ground, and then like before you find out that like the car's been running the whole time, and he's basically just like carbon monoxide poisoned everybody or whatever. Is so funny. I watched a movie called Bunraku, because Mike Patton is the narrator of, that has Josh Hartnett, Demi Moore, Woody Harrelson, Ron Perlman all in it, and it is not necessarily good, but kind of interesting. It feels like if somebody who's only seen anime and Kill Bill made a movie. But there's a pretty fucking sick fight of dudes fighting on a trampoline. That's about the only part I would recommend. And then I watched the Slaughter Day sequels, which are all not as good as Slaughter Day.
I had no idea there were sequels.
There's 3 shorts, like Slaughter Day 2, 3, and 4 on the Blu-ray that are like sequels, and they're fine, but they're all like 10 to 15 minutes long.
I mean, the original movie's like 28.
It's essentially like they feel more like scenes of people reenacting stuff from Evil Dead than actual like sequels, but like they're like fun to watch if you've seen the rest of the Blu-ray, but like nothing to go your way out. And then I watched Video Macumba, which is the most upsetting thing I've ever seen in my life. That this weird VHS dub thing that Mike Patton made for people in like the 90s that is mostly just a lot of real fucked up clips from porn movies mixed in with like weird 1940s cartoons and shit. It is very strange.
Fuck.
And I never will watch it again, and I do not recommend looking into it. It maybe the most upsetting thing I've ever watched. Oh, and I watched the Super Mario Brothers movie on Twitter. Exactly how the creators of that movie intended.
Yeah, you must have got in just under the wire because that account got suspended.
Yeah, it was like I think like maybe 20 minutes after I finished it, it was gone.
Yeah, they posted that in the new Avatar movie.
Yeah, I didn't make it to Avatar. I don't know how people were able to get that entire movie in before it got taken down, but alright, shout outs. Katie, what's your shout out?
9 Inch Nails. This little band called 9 Inch Nails that people probably haven't heard of.
Yeah, up and comers.
Love them. I haven't really listened to a lot of, I'm gonna say newer stuff, but when I say newer, I mean
last
like
20 years.
Yeah, like With Teeth came out the year that I graduated, and I like still really liked that one. But that was like 2005, so I still like pretty much listen to like a lot of the earlier stuff. And if Trent is ever on soundtracks, like I'll listen to those too.
You gotta get on Hesitation. That album slaps.
And I see there was some 2020 stuff.
Yeah, he's like released like some EPs and shit.
Yeah, I think I need to do like a full listen.
They're all good. I back all of those albums.
Yeah.
Kit, what's your shout out?
Dune 2. It's coming. The Worm.
Gosh, I still haven't watched that. I still haven't watched it. It's like 12 hours long, so.
I'll say you can just wait, and then the new one's going to be like 3 hours, and you can just make a whole day of it.
Didn't they say that like Shai Hulud in it's gonna be practical?
The one that
what's his name rides or whatever.
Kimmy rides, yeah, apparently practical, which is insane.
Which basically to me just means that like they shot him on top of like there's just like the back of one.
Right, just like a chunk of worm.
A big worm booty.
Shayne, who you want to shout out?
Oh boy, smoking cigarettes. It's cool, it looks cool, and it's good for you.
Check out our sponsor, Virginia Slims.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Camel Joe.
Yeah, it is very cool looking, but it's not healthy. So smoke at your own risk, children.
Swallowing bullets, though.
Yes.
Yeah, very cool.
But only if you're drinking alcohol.
Yeah,
if you're smoking right now, immediately put your cigarette out on your tongue, okay?
Yeah. I mean, the bullets come out eventually, too. Cigarette smoke just kind of stays in your lungs.
Yeah.
I don't want to think about passing a bullet. Seems not great. I'm a shout out Angel Dust by Faith No More.
And the drug.
Yes.
I was going to say Angel Dust, the drug.
Cigarettes and Angel Dust. What a combo. All right. Next week, The Crow 2, City of Angels.
Oh, yeah.
Gonna talk about the Deftones a lot.
Yeah, because the movie is terrible and there's not much to talk about.
It's another one I'm almost positive. I'm pretty sure I saw City of Angels in the theater, too.
I did. It was like aside from Star Wars Episode 1, that's like my second biggest like theatrical letdown.
I remember like being okay with it, but I haven't seen it since it originally came out, and like I can't imagine it holds up at all. So we're gonna find out.
Can't wait.
All right. If you would like to support us, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/IHapSufferPodcast. We're gonna have an episode probably the next week about something garden tools as weapons, because Kit picks the fucking most difficult themes that everybody then also votes for.
Seriously.
I know what the people want.
Yeah. As for us to spend a month and a half struggling to find movies to cover. But we're doing Dead Alive, Garden Tool Massacre, and The Burning.
See, it wasn't that hard.
So essentially,
everyone found movies.
I mean, I only found mine, which I honestly probably would have come across, like, thought about eventually anyway, because of the lawnmower. But I was like, I'm just gonna look up a fucking list of these, and found some article that was basically like 10 movies using
Friday
garden
the
tools,
13th.
and it was like 8 of them were Friday the 13th.
Yeah. You technically picked mine too, so even though it's
I'm
me, but
I'm trying to steer everyone to doing all Friday the 13th.
Look, I'm down.
just pick it.
I will absolutely talk about how the first one is the worst one.
All right, let's do The Crow, then Children of the Corn, then Friday the 13th.
We already did. Well, we could do. So we already did the best Friday the 13th with Jason X, which means we just go back and do Jason Goes to Hell, and then we're done. And we did Freddy versus Jason as a bonus episode, so like all the good ones are done.
Are we doing Children of the Corn week to week? Are we doing like one big episode?
No, I think
I need to know
the
how
idea is
much
week to
suffering
week.
I'm in for.
I am absolutely not watching 13 of those movies in 1 week.
I was gonna say that's like a year's worth of programming.
I think what we do is we finish The Crow, and then we take a couple episodes, maybe do like a month in between, and then we jump into Children of the Corn. We'll do like
Children of the Corn's a commitment.
It's gonna be fucking terrible.
Strap in.
I say we do a couple good movies, and then we'll dive into Children of the Corn.
Give me the corn. Give me the corn.
I am not looking forward to that remake.
I only want to watch the third one.
Oh yeah.
Is that Urban Harvest?
Oh yeah, you better believe it.
That's right.
The only good one.
that's like I think that came out before Leprechaun in the Hood.
Oh man.
But yeah, it's like Children of the Corn, but they're in a city now.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Children of Corn in the Hood.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the crossover they should have did is Leprechaun and Children of the Corn.
Child of the Hood Corn.
Was it Patreon? You can buy merch at our store Frontier and follow us on Instagram at Episode Podcast. You can follow Kit at Hidden Kitstery and Kitrification of Blood. Go see pictures of Hooch and tiny figures.
What more could you want, honestly?
Oh, we need Hooch with the tiny figures.
I feel like Hooch would eat one.
Together.
Should do that. That's it. Oh man, yeah.
Start an account where it looks like Hooch is painting the figures.
I'll be one of those shitheads that monetizes their animals on Instagram.
Do it.
Hooch Hammer.
You can follow Katie at WerewolfFace and join Katie's Patreon at patreon.com/werewolfface. Listen to my other podcast, 8K Movie Club. Shayne, don't go follow Shayne. Shayne's a bad
Yeah,
follow.
I have enough followers. It's fine.
Go follow Shayne on Blue Sky.
If I ever get my invite.
At metalshane.bluesky. I'm sure he's there. At Ted Cruz crapping his pants. .bluesky. Shayne, thanks for coming back on.
Hey, no problem.
Talk about a good movie this time.
That's right.
It was
Yeah.
no Babel by whatever the fuck Bigfoot
no weird
movie,
Christianity stuff going on.
but yeah, for once.
Just wait. He's gonna come back with a vengeance. All right.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
next
I'm sure. Yeah.
next time.
This is his part of the crow where he dies, but he's gonna come back
Next
with something
time
evil.
we're doing
Christian-y.
LaQuisha.
Oh my god. No.
A movie Kit has watched.
Yes.
I know 2 people have watched it, you and Erica, so got something wrong with both of you.
Yep.
Alright. Crow City of Angels next week. I hope it rains all the time, but why?
Aw.
Actually, I don't. I had a hole in my roof this week. Stop raining.
No rain, please.